What's up, everybody? Tuesday night, you got the OG3 tonight. Flyers Talk A2Ds coming at you tonight. We got live reactions. We're going to do a little post-game discussion with this game against the Columbus Blue Jackets. I almost said Carolina for some reason. I don't know why. But we're also going to talk about a little bit of a fun topic. I think we're definitely going to have a lively debate here with this one. Is Torts overcoaching this team? Is this team not responding? Does this team need a change? We're going to discuss that. We're going to discuss so much more. So hit that like, hit that subscribe, Facebook, Twitter, hit that share, hit that retweet. Guys, let's go talk some puck.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new edition of Flyers Talk here on A2D. I am Matt Sidsuti, along with the Darkwing, Brian Daly.
Just looking at Heather's comment. Yeah, apparently I can be a commentator too because JJ's doing the same thing.
And the broken one, Rob Povia.
Good evening, people.
And tonight, we are brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy. If you got any aches and pains that are bugging you, hit up the doc, Dr. Paul Vidal, at www.specializedphysicaltherapy.com, and then visit him at either Burlington or Cherry Hill, New Jersey. He's got great teams, highly trained professionals on both sides, and they will take care of you and make you feel as good as new after a few sessions, so you won't have any more of those aches and pains. And our poll question for today is, the Flyers recent, I don't know why I was having a problem with that word. Anyway, the Flyers' recent 3-game skid is due to Torts overcoaching. Agree or disagree? No secret, Flyers haven't exactly been on the winning side of the score sheet these last few games, and unfortunately, a lot of it is self-inflicted. So the question is it a Torts thing, or is it a little bit deeper than that? Or is it just a surface thing here with the coach? Gentlemen, you have the floor. Do you agree with this poll, or do you disagree with this poll?
I'm in between. And the reason for that is because I think there is definitely a little bit of overcoaching being done here. The other thing that I'm kind of hesitant about with fully agreeing on this is the fact that this has been the same roster for 500 and some odd days. There hasn't been a single player from this main roster moved in about 2, maybe 3 years. So that to me is a little bit of an issue too. Like I'm all about, the chemistry and giving guys a chance to develop and not giving up on guys too soon. But I definitely think that has been a bit of an issue because I know there's guys on this roster that don't like Torts' system. They don't like the hard-nosed coach, the guy who's going to push them, the guy that's going to hold them accountable. Some guys, they just don't like that kind of coaching. They don't think it can build up their confidence and take them to the next level, which is understandable. But in that same breath, I think that over the last few days, Torts has been overcoaching. And I think a lot of it has to do with the way the last few games have gone, the game against the Panthers and the game against the Boston Bruins especially. You're battling a team and you're battling referees too. Now, granted, in the Florida game, I think some of those penalties that were called were definitely deserved. Definitely some mental mistakes and definitely some undisciplined play from these guys. But ultimately, I think when you're battling, all these mental mistakes, you have to overcompensate sometimes. I definitely think he's been overcoaching for sure, but I also think that the players aren't really doing themselves any favors by playing the way that they have been, especially when, Mike benching TK. It made absolute sense. He's getting too emotional out there. He's getting frustrated. That's when he takes penalties and becomes extremely undisciplined. That hurts him. They need him on the ice. So he's got to maintain that composure. So to me, it's been back and forth, but they look like they have a little bit more sense of control tonight. So that's a good thing. So I'm on the fence. I will lean towards agree just for the fact that he has been overcoaching.
All right. Robbie, how do you feel? Do you agree or do you disagree?
Well, let me jump in right there because who are these players that don't respond well to the Torch system? I don't think they exist on this roster right now because if we're talking about TK from that Bruins game, we'll look at the response not only against Utah, but tonight, especially tonight, with that late goal in the second period, driving the Flyers up 4-1, up to 5-1 now here in the third period, early in the third. So, I mean, I think message received, and this is just my take. A lot of you are going to disagree with me, but I disagree with this poll. I agree with Torts poll and TK. It gave younger guys experience in a high pressure overtime during a tough road tilt in Boston. Those are valuable minutes that you want to instill if you're trying to create something here for the future, right? Plus, it's about sending the right message to all the players in that locker room, no matter what name is on the back of your jersey, not letting the inmates run the asylum. And, to your point, Brian, TK was getting emotional there, right? He was getting undisciplined. He's got to hold his players accountable. A coach needs to have control of his team. And you do that by holding even your veterans accountable.
That's true. Heather's saying that's the job of a coach, to make you a better player and to do what's best for the team. Your job of a player is to give your coach a reason to keep you on the team. And gentleman here, Eddie Everett, have not seen this man before. He's saying, yo, guys, what's going on, good sir? Hope you are having an excellent evening, as so far we are watching the Flyers have a 5-1 lead on the Columbus Blue Jackets. Hopefully they can maintain it.
I mean, my main issue with some of the players that are on this roster right now, I mean, Frost doesn't seem to want to respond until he is sitting for a game or two. Farabee, he has his flashes where he looks like he's going to be the guy that they drafted him to be. There's just a lot of inconsistency from some of these guys. Tippett, no problems with. TK, no problems with. Couturier, I really don't have a problem with him, but there's got to be a change here. Clearly, something's not working here. And I definitely think that there's some guys that probably need a change of scenery to really get going here. And I don't know. Some of these guys are consistently inconsistent, and for this team to take the next step and to have any kind of success in the playoffs, those are the guys that they need to lean on. And these guys are just staying stagnant.
I need to disagree with you. I need to jump in there, Brian, because we were singing their praises before this 3-game trip, and you're talking about games against the Panthers, the Stanley Cup champs, the Bruins, who, yes, they fired their coach or are having a down season, but still have a lot of talent at home. And then a Utah club who has a lot of talent, but that's a team that you got to beat. There's no excuse there, right? But you're talking really one game, and then they're coming out tonight against, granted, Blue Jackets, not a superior team. They've been falling by the wayside. But my point is, Brian, is that I don't think we could jump to too many conclusions from 3 games, because, these are tough tilts.
No, agreed. And I'm going back a little bit further than just the 3 games. More just overall since Torts has been here. Farabee has definitely taken a step forward, but he kind of stopped. Frost, I kind of feel like unless he's in Torts' doghouse, he doesn't really respond.
Right.
So I mean, there's definitely guys who are flourishing in this system with Torts. York, one of them, love it. Tippett, he's getting plenty of opportunities. He just needs to find his finish. That's all. That's all on him. That's got nothing to do with it. But there has to be a change. And if I elbow my desk one more time, I swear to God, I'm throwing it out the window.
Well, Tippett's starting to find, goals in 5 games now. So, he is starting to find, and it comes with the physical play. He steps up the physical play. He looks like he's the if not the fastest skater out there, the most demonstrative. Really like a strong forecheck in tow, Maddie.
Yeah. Also, side note, for everyone out there in the fan, please feel free to throw out whether you wish to or you don't wish to see Bry attempt to throw his desk out the window. Please feel free to throw that out there. As for
I'm just going to shift over this way because I feel like people are going to want to see that.
just a
We're
little,
just going to go this
just
way.
a little, but
Turn that.
but I will say the biggest problem, and this is how I feel about this question here. You know, when you don't get the wins and your team is struggling to close out games, which is what the issue has been for the Flyers. It's not so much been that the Flyers can't play the game and keep up with the teams that they're going up against, because they're doing fine with that. It's sticking the landing.
Yeah.
They just, when they're about to touch ground, and what do? They crash just right there at the end, right there on the tarmac. And it's such a shame because a lot of winnable games slip through your fingers. I mean, one in Boston that you could have won, that you lost in overtime. Yes, you got a point out of it, but you could have gotten 2. A game against Utah that you should have won, that you had a terrible turnover that very much sealed the deal and took all the momentum away, plus also bad timed penalties, which has been a consistent theme throughout this 3-game skid. Overall, I could say that as much as it might be easy to jump on the hate Torts bandwagon, and it is very easy to do that, I would have to say, while he should shoulder some blame for the skid, at the end of the day, I feel like these are team failures altogether. These are an inconsistency from the entire locker room. Yes, particular players have had their abject, terrible moments that have resulted in an awful, awful bounce going the other way. But that's still an all-around team poor performance. I mean, there have also been goals that have gone in that look terrible. There was an easy, soft-as baby shit goal that Urson let in. I believe that was against Utah. Forget who he let it in.
First game back, though. First game back. Let's cut him some slack. And I think that attributes to that loss a little bit, too.
I am going to say this, though. Sure. But when you've seen it happen a few times, you kind of have to throw everybody under that and say, listen, Urson's got to take it just as much as Fedotov and just as much as Kolosov. All 3 of them have been guilty of it. Yeah. So
there he allows a goal as I try to defend him. Way to support me. Way to support my team. 5-2 Flyers now.
Oh boy.
I'll say this though: the Utah game, it was just bad bounce after bad bounce for the Flyers. Right? Yeah. I mean, don't get it wrong; they were in all 3 games.
They were,
despite the losses. They were in all 3 games, so they're doing something right offensively. It just needs to be more than just seeing 3 guys. It needs to be more than Mitch Kopp. It needs to be more than Konechny. It needs to be more than Tippett.
I agree with that.
And I agree.
These other guys, they have to figure it out. Because like we said this at the beginning of the year, if the Flyers want to find success and they want to find a way to the playoffs and make even some kind of a run, it is not 38 degrees in my apartment. I'll tell you that right now. It's actually really warm in here. But guys like Farabee, Frosty, these guys, these guys have to figure out ways to, if they're not going to find ways to help out on the score sheet, they got to find ways to help out somewhere else on the game.
But the past 2 nights, we've seen that, though. I dare to say that the best line for these Philadelphia Flyers over these past 3 games has been that Cates, Brink, and Forrester line. So I mean, and tonight they've gotten the result now. So can they continue that?
No, that's fair. That's fair. Brink has been really good and really noticeable, but he's not getting on the score sheet. I'm not fully saying that he has to, get to that point where we're expecting 60, 70 points from him.
Jocks,
but he's got to start.
Jocks, not yet, man. Don't do it. Don't say that. Don't jinx. Still 7 minutes left in the game, and it's a 3-goal lead. And that is not safe in hockey.
But I mean, like I said, we just more from the depth. We saw really good things from Farabee last year. Feel like I'm not seeing it as much this year. Like I said, he's had flashes where he's looked really, really good. But he's he's on my short list of guys that I would say they need a change of scenery, I think, for them to really take that next step. And Flyers need to bring some new blood in. They need to figure out a way to create a spark. Having this essentially the same roster for the last 500 days, gotta shake things up.
For Mike, he's saying, has Kolosov improved? I mean, I would say that he's a little bit, but again, it's a slow pace development with Kolosov right now. Then again, it is also his first year in the NHL. So that definitely is going to play a little bit onto it. Fedotov the same way. He drastically improved, and now he's kind of like, okay, now it's a more slower improvement as we're moving forward through the season. But let me see here. I got some starred comments here from the fam. Start off with Swoopy here. What's going on, brother? Saying, those hating on and saying Torts should go are clueless. He holds guys accountable no matter who it is, rookies, vets, and etc. He is one of a kind. I love it. Most guys won't do what he does. Robbie.
See, remember, I was on that Facebook page that time. I wanted to jump in with Soupy's comment because allow me just to offer this metaphor for the people that are like, really just blasting Torts, and I'm looking at you, Greg. I have all right. This metaphor, I have a pretty clean driving record. Talking about myself, I'm a 30-year vet behind the wheel this year, boys. That's disturbing. I get now. Not say I get mad because someone cut me off, so I speed around them, and I wind up running a red light. And of course, there's a cop stationed at that intersection. Should I not be pulled over and ticketed? Maybe I was thinking that, but what's right's right. Stop giving Torts a hard time for disciplining a rebuilding team. Like, just no matter what, you got to hold. If you're holding your rookies accountable, you got to hold the vets to the same standard, and vice versa. No, right?
I mean, you're an NHL player, and the expectation is to be at the level that you need to be at. Now, obviously, there's varying degrees. You're going to have your superstars who are just going to have a natural talent to them. And you're going to have your strong depth players who are going to be role players on the team. Sometimes that even means taking on leadership qualities. Other times it's just being a hard worker that is on a team for several years and maybe a journeyman, but will always find work. The point being is that no matter what degree you're at, yes, you have to be held to the same standard. You're still an NHL player at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure. All should be held to the same standard. And that's why I like Torts and what he's doing. But at the same time, he's been stuck with the same guys for a couple of years now. The only real big change has been Michkov, and there's been a dramatic positive change. But,
we also have to remember, too, that depth was going to be something that was going to be a maker or breaker for this team. And we knew that going into the season. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like this is anything shocking at the end of the day. It's played out, basically.
And when everything's working and everything's in balance, and I realized that the PK over the last few games have not been good either. But when everything's working together, you get results like this, where it's 5-2.
Right.
You're getting goals off the power play. You're getting the penalty killing, and they're doing their jobs. And I know the Florida game was tough because, like Robbie said, defending champs, one of the best teams in the league. They have one of the best power plays in the league. So I get it. It's a tough stretch. Flyers also shot themselves in the foot in that game.
They did.
They could have won that game.
Oh, yes.
They could have won the Boston game.
Mm-hmm.
Very winnable game.
Damn good in both games.
Yeah, we could very easily be talking the complete opposite here.
Right.
But again, comes back to when your guys are undisciplined, which in the Florida game I love because they were sticking up for each other, but also know when to hit
Pull
the
it, yeah.
timeout button, pull back a little bit, and say,
Pull it back a
"Hey, I
little
don't want
bit,
to.
yeah.
I don't want to put myself in put my boys at a disadvantage because of me." And
Right,
that's what happened,
right,
and they paid the price for that.
right. Benny's saying there is issues with consistency. You bench Mitchkov, Frost, TK for poor decisions and play, but don't apply that to Tippett and Cates. I think Tippett, the biggest problem is that he works his ass off on every time he's out there. It's just that sometimes the bounces just do not go his way. Like he will have amazing opportunities and a goalie will rob him. I mean, he finally got it tonight, but again, it's like one of those things of I see him work his ass off. It's just that it just does not go in for him half the time, and it does happen where you can get snake bit like that. It sucks because you know they're doing everything right. It's just you're not getting the results you like. Cates, I think Cates is trying. I do see that he has made some errors in judgment here and there, but again. I think also Torts, he's seen the level of effort, and I think that's what he's really getting behind. Whereas I feel like with Mitchkov, I think he wants to, and this is just a theory. I can't necessarily say that's 100% true, but as a coach who is known to be a little tough, maybe even more than just a little tough, maybe he wanted to sit Mitchkov because maybe Mitchkov was getting a little bit into that whole, hey, I can be, I could be the star player and everything. And be like, oh, let me pull you back a little bit before you get that big hit, and maybe that's what he was trying to do, trying to kind of curtail that a little bit. It's like, hey, kid,
Yeah.
you are talented, but you are not the only person on this team because you don't want to do that. You don't want to start feeding egos, and this kid's got all that kind of talent to get a big ego out of that. And you don't want that to happen at the end of the day.
The thing though with Cates too, Benny, is he's not going to be a guy who's going to light the lamp for you. He's got what, 2 goals on the year, 3 goals on the year, if that. I like the fact that he's a blue collar player. He doesn't spend a lot of time on the ice as it is. So he's probably getting 12 to 15 minutes a game, if that. I like what he does when he is on the ice. He's not going to essentially be your point scorer. He's going to go out there. He's going to play hard. He's going to throw a couple checks. And he's going to forecheck. He's going to try and create some havoc while he's out there. And you pretty much summed up Tippett pretty well. He just needs to find the net. He just needs to slow down a little bit, take a second, and corral the puck. A lot of times when he's shooting the puck, I feel like he's getting it almost immediately off a pass, and sometimes when that puck catches a little bit of an edge, it's going to go wherever. It's not going to go where you want it to go. It's literally going to go anywhere and everywhere.
Right.
So if he can just slow down himself and take the second to settle the puck, you probably about the same amount of goals as Konechny, if not more.
Right.
He'd be in that same category of 15 to 20.
Right. Benny also was going to say, I generally don't give the team a pass, but the Boston game could be thrown out the window. That was just more about poor officiating. That was a rough game in terms of the refs. Yes.
Yeah.
The only penalty I actually agreed with was when Coots got himself penalized and thrown in the box when he tripped up. I forget who he tripped up, but that was kind of stupid on his part. But everything else, yeah, you could say that was questionable.
Did Torts space that he finds for what he said after that game? Because that was, I've heard pressers from him, but when he came out and he said, maybe I should teach my guys how to dive.
Right.
Like that, oh my goodness. Like that was a direct shot and very accurate too. So there was a lot of obstacles going against the Flyers other than, than the topic at hand.
Right.
But in regards to Cates though,
mm-hmm.
He's that transitional player for this team, right? He's the prospect that you have that carries you forth because this team has 3 firsts next year, 3 seconds in a very deep draft class. I very doubt that Noah Cates is going to be the long-term plans of the Philadelphia Flyers, but he can be that blue-collar worker, to Brian's point. And lately, it's shown off in terms of what, that scoring upside can bring. Right? So, I mean, talking about college players, they have that experience, and as I talk another Blue Jackets goal. Yeah.
So Rob, I
I
love
think
you,
there's only
brother.
37 seconds left.
Listen, Robbie, I love you. You're one of the best line mates a guy could ever ask for, but I think I should mute you until this game's final buzzer. Oh, he's done it to himself. Never mind.
It was funny. I can't read lips, but I definitely heard that.
Yep.
It's okay, I muted myself.
All right, so let's see here. Swoopy's saying a lot of people say doing what Torts did to your best player in OT is nonsense. No, it's not with the positions this team is still in. If they were a great team and running in the playoffs, then yes, it would be a problem. Doing it with their best players, but not with this team right now. Yeah, and again, this is a team where I think if you looked at it from an assessment in terms of the talent level, you know, besides TK and Tippett, your biggest bright spot is Mitchkov.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can all agree on that. So, and again, that hits his rookie year. And yes, the Flyers have officially won. So, Robbie, you could take yourself off mute.
I'm back.
Yes, let's go. I'm just gonna say this. Anybody that thinks TK getting benched is being nonsense is being a little ridiculous, because at that point where he was mentally, he becomes a detriment to the team, because then he's going to do something out of character because of that emotion that he's playing with. And I get it. I think anybody that is a Flyers fan was frustrated with that game on Saturday. And if you weren't, you're probably not a Flyers fan, if I'm going to be perfectly honest. Because I'm not one. You guys have known me a very long time. I'm not one to blame referees for a loss. I'm not one to point the fingers and say that's a blown call, that's a blown call, that's a blown call. The refs were atrocious on Saturday. They were atrocious. Despite them, the Flyers still were able to net 4 goals and force the game to overtime. Granted, they had a lead at one point and probably should have won that game. It is what it is. You can't go back in time. You can't change it. But benching TK and sending that message, I think said a lot, because if you noticed in Utah or against Utah and that game tonight in Columbus, the demeanor in that team is a little different. They're more settled. They still stood up for each other, but they didn't take any unnecessary penalties. They didn't talk back about any refs. They were very to themselves. And that's a good thing. That's they're centered. When they're centered, they play better. They don't have to worry about it. So I love the way that they've been the last couple games. Again, bad bounces in the Utah game. With that 2 deflections off the defenders that went in. There's not much you can do about that. The Frost mistake, though, that one you have to. That one you absolutely have to. You have to put on him. There's no excuse for that one. There's no excuse for that one.
I would agree, Benny's, that they have been a better road team. It's actually kind of funny.
Agreed.
But Mike's also saying, I think Fedotov gets packaged in a deal. Kolosov, I feel, has improved his game. Thoughts on the goaltending pool?
So what I say last week. I'm good with any combo of the 3 that they have, because they have all proven that they deserve a chance, and they're all tandem goalies. So I think it's a perfect opportunity for them.
So, Mike, did you put the 8 ball there because you're trying to say that the Flyers goaltending is behind the 8 ball? This is a well-known fact. So
I think it's the magic 8 ball.
Telling
the future. Yes. I got that emoji. I may be old, but I'm hip.
I wonder how many people in our chat actually remember what the magic 8 ball actually is.
Yeah, maybe just me mentioning the magic 8 ball and saying the word hip actually probably dated myself even more. I think I sounded like I was 52.
I'm curious. I'm also curious to how many people in our chat is like, "Ooh, 8 ball. Who is an 8 ball?"
Yeah, they're thinking of
time to hit the slopes.
Different.
Yeah. All right. Who's got the strippers?
We're gonna have ourselves a bit of a snowstorm out here. Anyway.
They're going to party Jeff Carter and Mike Richards style.
Oh, yeah. They knew what was up.
Well done. Well done, sir. Well done.
Maybe that's what the Flyers are missing this whole time. Because Jeff Carter and Mike Richards, boy, they took no shit.
Chucks, you better remember the Magic 8 Ball, bro. We're old. Whether you want to agree with it or not, we're old, bro. We're homie.
Right.
Next year we're 40.
The last point I'll make on this before we go into our second topic for tonight is that eventually with all of this policing and holding his players accountable, he's got to hit the yang for that yin and show the trust in them too. And that and Torts is good for that too. We talk about they played this Columbus Blue Jackets team tonight. Wasn't he the only one to lead that franchise into a playoff series win? So I mean, he's been successful. I get that he's not everybody's cup of tea. I'm really surprised that the people on Flyers Talk they wanted to blow up our post that I shared in the Flyers Talk group, but I invite him onto the show to be like, come here and say that Torts should be fired. Come here and say that you totally disagree with him benching Torts, benching TK, and you want to be heard. I gave you a platform to do it, but all I see is the OGs like Benny Nation here.
Well, some people feel a little bit more comfortable on that keyboard than they do in the chat. So, over here in the
I said, come prove me wrong. I said, come prove us wrong. Because I assume, I heard two, Brian, were you agree or disagree? Because you were like, you kind of gave both sides of it. And I don't think I ever got Maddie's official on this either.
I'm leaning towards agree. I definitely think he's been overcoaching a little bit lately.
Interesting.
Mine, I'm going to say disagree. I just think that Torts, can he take some of the blame? Sure. But I feel like it's like, that's giving the players a pass. Let's blame Torts for everything that happened out there. That was your bad decision. That was your poor decision. That was your poor handling of the puck. That was you letting in a soft goal. Torts ain't out there on the ice making those poor decisions. You know what you're supposed to do. Some of you guys are still young and growing, and I get that, but that's still your decision. You still got to own it. Can't give you the pass by saying it's all Torts.
Yeah. And to Robbie's point earlier, there's definitely yin to Torts' yang. Is that what we were talking about? Okay. So
I don't want to admit it, but yeah, I guess so.
The yin to the yang.
Yes.
For Torts and this, and you guys are going to like this one. Ready? You're going to hit that like. You're going to hit that subscribe. You're going to not miss anything A2D has to offer. Flyers Talk A2D every Tuesday night. You got Wednesday nights. You have A2D on Sundays. You got Eagles Talk. I almost said Birds of a Feather. I'm sorry, Chucks. Eagles Talk every Monday night, and they got Philly Inquirer's own Les Bone with them just about every week. So we always got something in this very ring. Y'all like wrestling? We got a wrestling show. What media company do you know right now that has a wrestling show? We got something for everybody. Come on. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, turn on your notifications, tell your friends. Come join the conversation. That's all this is. We're conversing. Let's debate. Let's yell at each other, and then let's go break bread later, as Tommy likes to say.
I will say this right now, Bri, you are a sly dog, just always figuring out ways to sneak that in there. Anyway.
King of the segue. Well, I'm crowning myself king of the segue.
Benny's is also saying, I think that with their where this team is at, there is no need to rush a goaltending decision. Let's see here. He also says, the problem, if you were that into the 8-ball, you probably, as a side effect, have in fact forgot about the 8-ball.
Truth.
Mike's got the popcorn out.
Muted popcorn, yeah.
Meanwhile, Benny's saying, was I just called a keyboard warrior? There's more than just one way to get your hand certified as a weapon. Listen, brother, we weren't calling you that because you're here.
OG, baby.
Yeah, you're here, brother. We were saying that about the people who always want to blast you and then not come on here and then give their reasons as why. So no, bro, you're
Exactly.
here.
No, that's what I'm saying. I like to share our show around, of course, right, throughout the groups on Facebook, and this one Flyers talk group I'm in, a whole bunch of people tearing in the torch. So I was like, come on in the show, come talk with us, and they're not here, but Benny, you're always here every week. That's what I'm saying. OG.
Listen, Benny, we may not always agree, bro, but you know what? You're always here. You're always talking, and we break bread after, bro.
Yep.
We family.
And then one more starred comment I have here from Chucks saying, my concern is, when is that Torts fatigue going to set in if it hasn't already? I like what Torts has done, but I still have reservations about whether he is the guy long term. I mean, I would argue and say that fatigue-wise with Torts, I don't see it coming up anytime soon. I think Briere and Jonesy are patient. They're way more patient than some. Whereas Torts may have been in an environment where their team was more competitive. Obviously, with the Rangers, he was there when the team was more competitive, shorter leash with a lack of playoff results. That's where you get that leash starts to become a lot shorter when you start seeing those playoff performances not come up to snuff, so to speak. Now, obviously, I'm sorry, Brian. I'm being robbed. God damn. Sorry.
I'm up here. He down there.
Yeah, I know. I lost my direction there. I had no idea what one was north and which one was south. But anyway, so
I didn't call this show the old name, but I called another show their old name last week when I was filling in hosting for you. So don't worry about it, Maddie. No, what I just wanted to say in response to that last comment is that I don't think you're going to get Torts fatigue either, because he always did it by himself before, right? He didn't learn how to delegate properly on a coaching staff level. And we see that now with not only having an assistant, but an associate, with Rocky Thompson and Brad Shaw, who inversely, if you ever seen a picture of Brad Shaw, he looks like if Jonesy was younger, but like a younger version of him now, not what we knew him as a player. Like, he's basically just a younger version of Jones now. Anyway, but my point is that he shares the coaching responsibilities, right? And it's one vision, but really being controlled by three different set of eyes right there. And I think that really helps out when you come together and not only have a hands-on GM like Danny B, as well as Keith Jones himself as a president. It's a really good melting pot that I think that's going on here in Philadelphia.
Yeah. And again, everything takes time, and no one said this road wasn't going to be rocky. And we went through a rocky portion of it, but Flyers did win tonight. So with that, I think it's time for us to jump into the second part of the show, unless there's anything else that you gentlemen would like to throw out there before we go into the post game.
No, I'm done defending Torts. I can't believe I would ever be a person defending Torts. I hated him like as much as Greg did back in the day, and I've totally done a 180 on Torts.
It's amazing what a Flyers coaching job can do for your opinion on a guy.
It's made a difference. Like, I was never a Torts guy. I think I was with Robbie when we were in the garage and we were talking about the possibility of Torts becoming the Flyers' new head coach. I'm like, no, he's not going to do anything good for this team.
I will say
wrong.
I will say this. I would like to extend that thanks to the Vancouver Canucks, because that experience, I think, humbled the shit out of Tortorella, because that was a terrible year for them, and that was a terrible year for him as a coach. And I think probably personally, because he even challenged the Flames coach to a fight. I mean, that's how poor things were getting during that year. So he learned.
Two things before we move on here. One, fun fact. Are you guys familiar with the Brady books?
No.
So it's a book written and illustrated about a little boy hockey player who gets himself into, I don't want to necessarily say trouble because I've never actually read them, but I know of them. But it's about a little kid named Brady. They call him Brady. So fun fact, the Bradshaw's wife actually writes and illustrates those books.
Huh.
And Brady is actually supposed to be based off of his son.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that
Yeah.
nice?
Yeah.
That's a very touching, heartwarming thing right there. That is nice to see.
And then the second thing is, dear God, let Anaheim trade Trouba immediately. Fucking karma, right? Trash him 2 weeks ago, and next thing I know, he's got a 2 p.m. deadline or he's going to get waived. Haha. I'm like, where's he going to go? 2:30, I put up my Instagram, and there he is. Traded Anaheim.
What, you don't think Trouba can contribute to a rebuilding Ducks team?
No. He's blocking another young player. My hope is that the rumors are true and they're going to trade his ass.
They might. So hopefully, you know what? This is what you do. You hope and pray to the hockey gods that he has this great outburst of of goals, points, and just looks like $1 million. So that way you guys get the nice return for him. How about that? Just pray to the hockey gods to make it happen.
Listen, there's one good thing about Anaheim having Trouba. It does give them a little bit more flexibility as far as trades go because they took the entire contract. So there's that upside. But you were there when I trashed him and called him dirty and called him a scumbag and called him a piece of shit, and then I never wanted him on my team. Not instant karma, but karma nonetheless. Because now I got to deal with him until they trade him for at least a year and a half.
For now.
I want to drive my head into a wall.
Oh, come on. It can't be that bad.
At least it's better than having Mark Stahl. Just saying.
Matty, he was the only one in the negative yesterday. He was the only guy on the roster that had a negative yesterday. I didn't even catch it. It was brought to my attention. Trade him. Flip him. Get rid of him. Put Minty back in. I'm done.
Benny's saying, oh shit, you got the reincarnation of the Bash brothers, Gudis and Trouba. Only difference is Gudis turned out to be pretty good.
They're not even on the same pairing. Yeah, it was I think last night in his debut, I think it was Trouba and Fowler. They're not even on the same pairing.
I love it. Heather's just saying, don't act like you aren't excited.
I'll be excited to move them.
Mike's saying Anaheim wins cup with Trouba, ditches rebuilding. Oh, man. So let's see here. Finn's up 13 says, great to have our Flyers back. Got to get to a game before the stadium gets crowded again, just like the Phillies. Yeah, definitely so. I mean, with the way the Flyers played too, I mean, there's a good shot you might get yourself a pretty nice little game out of it. I mean, last year I went to a bunch and it was always a good experience. Of course, I'm partial towards that one that we beat the Penguins in overtime. Couldn't imagine why, but you know. Anyway, but
hit that like, hit that subscribe, brother, if you haven't already. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off, Matty.
I was about to say the same thing anyway, so perfect. He said, I hate the bandwagon people. We are going to be championship contenders for sure soon. And that's the other thing, too. Overall, I will say, as I said before in the offseason, we don't know what the Flyers were going to be. We had no clue what they were going to be, even after the year they came off of where they almost made the playoffs. Because we just didn't know, okay, are the young guys going to take the next step? Are there going to be a little stuttering? How's the goaltending situation going to work? There was a whole ton of questions that we came out of after last year. There was a lot of hope because the Flyers had a much better performance last year than we expected out of them. So far out of the overall picture, I would say they've done pretty good. You know, they had their struggles at the beginning, but I think that they've been pretty solid as a team. Have they always gotten the result that we want? No. But you know what? If this is the progress that they've been making, we're doing pretty good for ourselves. And that this might not take as long as some people may dread it will. You know, that this may be a little bit not quick, not hot-shotted, but decently fast enough to where the Flyers could get back into the playoffs without it having to take a whole freaking decade to do it.
Exactly, because you have such a diversity in terms of talent pools at each level, and they continue to add towards that. And then, like I said, I mean, maybe as of now, you could see maybe them trading some picks if they want to bring in a key player, to make that next step moving into next season. But assuming that they do take 6 players in the first 2 rounds, you're just going to have, an organization that has that deep farm system that can be a sustained winner for years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll say this. If they do decide to trade players in Swoopy, I know what you said last week, and clearly you didn't listen to the second half of the show. You're still coming at me with this.
Should I read it, or do you?
No, I just read the first sentence. That's all I need to read. I don't need to read anything else. Swoopy just said it all for me right there.
Well, okay. Just bum my joy.
I'm only trading one of the goalies for picks. That's it. Give me Shane Pinto. Give me Marco Rossi. Give me Josh Norris. They need a center. Pinto works, but he's a really strong two-way player, very good on the penalty kill. And yes, he can give you 50 to 60 points a year. Marco Rossi can probably get you a little bit more, but he's not the dynamic two-way player that Shane Pinto or Josh Norris is. Those three right there would be the perfect move for me. Defensively, I don't touch anybody. Why am I still having this thing flying? Look what you get, Swoop. You distracted me. Just kidding, buddy. I always appreciate you. But yeah, no, you're moving player for player in this one. Eventually, like I said in the beginning of the show, you have to shake things up. It's time. It's been 500 days since you've traded somebody on the pro roster. 500 days. That's ridiculous. I'm all for development and patience, but it's time to shake things up.
I feel like with the way that you and Swoopy are talking right now, that Swoopy's on your line and he'll just touch the puck when he knows that there's a wide open net and you shot it just so that he gets the goal instead and you just get the assist. He doesn't have to. He just wants to.
He's the, what is he? The AJ Brown to my Jalen or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Everything that's going on right now.
Yeah.
Either that or he's the Brandon Graham to my AJ. I haven't figured that part out yet. But no, I mean, I'm with you, Swoopy. I agree with you wholeheartedly. At this point, you got plenty of picks here. It's time to move them and bring some players in.
All right, let's see here. Mike saying, are we shocked at Minnesota playing like a cup contender? I'm not going to lie. I was a little, only because I didn't think it was going to be like, I figured they could make the playoffs. I didn't think they were going to be like, oh, hey guys, why don't we just start dunking on teams now? It's like, all right, have fun, guys. I mean, hey,
the young guys are developing. Yeah,
right.
Kaprizov, who's an absolute stud. He's going to be making $14 million next year.
Wow,
he is covered. Always been good.
Hey, listen, if you want the thrill, you got to pay.
Mm-hmm.
You want the thrill, you better pay up.
You can pay for the thrill. I promise you that. Hopefully, it's a lot cleaner than most other thrills you got to pay for these days. So yeah, I see Robbie's with
a lot less side effects.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I mean, their defense has always been good. Their goaltending is just getting better. Fleury's been an excellent mentor for Wallstat, and Philip Gustafson he's been outstanding. So no, I'm not surprised. I know our fourth member here would probably be surprised, but he's sleeps on Minnesota like everybody else does, and Winnipeg and all those other teams. But
is it sad to say that it's easy to, I think that's also because the organization has at times kind of put themselves in that situation. I mean, I'm not saying they were trying to like fail. It's just they put themselves in there because they either bought and sold a little too much, or they just didn't have enough talent to make themselves competitive. But now obviously that's different. But you get my point. There was times where they were always middle, and they just could not seem to figure
Which
out
is
how to get
fair.
the hell out of it.
Which is fair. Winnipeg never had the opportunity to have a superstar.
Right.
They might have one now in Kyle Connor.
Maybe.
Minnesota finally has the talent around Kaprizov that they can roll 3 lines of just players that work hard,
grind hard, are physical.
Mhm.
They really wear down teams, and they play good defense and are getting good goaltending from Philip Gustafsson, is that their starter?
Mhm.
And then Flower to back them up. So I mean, I'm not surprised at all. We really build up Marco Rossi high, when pre-draft, and he's at that point where it's time to pay dividends, and he's being that good center iceman, the Kaprizov.
Right.
Fairby, second pick, Marco Rossi. Sorry,
Mike. By the way,
I agree.
I figured out. I know what that is. It's the Truba virus. Mike says you got it. So
Shut up, Mike.
He also says that the anti-Truba vaccine as well. On top of that, I didn't know you were an anti-vaxxer there, Bri. I didn't realize that.
I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut on that one.
What? Don't blame me. Mike's the one.
I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just saying I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut.
Mike's throwing
That's
out your
all I
dirty
said.
laundry here. That's all I'm saying. Anyway,
I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut. It's what I've been saying. I haven't.
Anyway, Benny's saying that Swoopy is the Jalen Hurts to your Saquon. You take it to the goal line, and he pushes his way into the end zone. But anyway,
Take that. There's quite a bit of innuendo in there.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen. Sometimes you got to have the pushing. But anyway, Bryce Blackwell. What's up, Bryce? He's saying good win, and it was a good win, solid win for the Flyers. A little shaky there towards the end, but they did stick the landing this time, so that's nice. Even if there was a little turbulence on the way in, but it's like, all right, guys, we had a successful landing. Let's try it again. Let's keep it going here. Let's get this back up and running here, and let's try to make it a little bit smoother. And Benny's saying, was it going there? Anyway.
It sounded like it. I'm just kidding.
Anyway, so gents, Flyers with their win tonight against the Blue Jackets as we are winding our way down here. What are the big things that you guys noticed tonight that you really wanted to pull out from this victory here against the Blue Jackets?
I love the transition game, and that's what you see is really improving with the squad. You saw that when Farabee nailed TK on the outlet pass for, I think that was TK's second goal of the game, and you saw that all game long, and you saw that within the lines too, not just the top line, not just the Mitchkoff line with Frost and Tippett, but you were seeing it all 4 lines rolling well tonight. Paling, Law, and Hathaway being that energy line. And it's interesting that coming out of a 3-game skid, the coach goes right back to the same roster, goes right back to Arison. That's maybe some of the trust that I was talking about earlier in the show. Arison's got to respond a little bit better, though, because it did not look good. And he didn't face a lot of rubber in this game either. So maybe that sometimes when you're a goaltender, that's what some of the hardest saves you'll make when you're not seeing a lot of puck earlier in the game, and then they're having that last minute ditch effort in the game and they creep back into it. So I'd like to see him firm up his game, get that pre-injury form, and it'll be an interesting conversation with the 3 goaltenders from here on out.
Yeah, it definitely will be. And let's see here.
I like that. Yeah, actually, you brought up the comment I was actually just about to bring up there, Maddie. I liked it too. They were crashing the net. They were getting in the dirty areas. They were making Merce Lincoln's very uncomfortable in that net, and that to me that sets the tone for the game, and that sets the tone for how the offense is going to be. Make the goaltender uncomfortable. Make him uncomfortable all day. Let him know that you're going to be there. Block his vision. Deflect pucks. It led to a lot of good things tonight, minus the second TK goal, which was just a beautiful pass, and then just a dynamic TK-like goal. But The other good thing I saw was PK. PK didn't allow too much pressure. They didn't allow Columbus to really get set up in the offensive zone. So my tip of the hat there. They've responded. To me, they've responded in the last 4 games, regardless of bounce, ref, whatever. They've responded in the last few games. So to see them continue to respond, to continue putting that effort out there, getting the payoff tonight to go their way, that's what I like seeing. And I know Eddie Everett was saying it earlier. I don't know if Eddie's still in the chat, but that's what we saw. That's what I like seeing, the effort. Because we've said it for the last couple of years during this rebuild. We said it when Torts took over. Even Torts has even said it. As long as the effort's there, this team, the results don't matter. The results will eventually turn their way. And I think you're seeing that in this stretch here, even going before the game against Florida. You know, they're playing really well. They're playing high energy for the most part. Ton of effort. Sometimes the results just aren't going to go their way. But it's got to maintain that consistent effort every night.
Well, let's see here. Joe, what's up, brother? He was throwing out Pov. What's your thoughts on letting 3 pitchers and probably Alonso walk so you could sign Soto to over 3 to 4, 3/4 of $1 billion?
You do know he's 26, right? So yeah, it would be 41 that the deal would end, not 48. But I think I was just answering him in the chat. I'll continue on. I mean, you do know who the Mets owner is, right? You know, he can continue to shell out dollars. Alonso is not off the table. Signing a big name pitcher is not off the table. Although I think they're going to continue to go with value deals. Maybe they retain Minea, who they really like a lot, and it's become you sign a Soto, and now this is a premier destination that's going to regularly. I know I'm wearing a Flyer sweater, and this sounds weird probably to a lot of you people, but I just had different ways. I grew up, following sports, and yeah, I know, Mike, I know.
Listen,
but I mean, all I'm saying is that I think you have an opportunity to sign a future Hall of Famer at 26 years old. You do it 8 days a week. I don't care, and it takes $1 billion owner to get it done. So that I love you, Joe, but that comment was out of pure hatred, and it was one series, so we beat you one series. Let's go back to 2007 and 2008, right?
Yeah,
So it's like the Phillies have pissed on the Mets way more times than the Mets pissed on the Phillies. But the one time that we do, oh God, we can't stand them. We can't stand them.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing at Joe's next comment. If you've seen the movie, you get it.
I am 26 in Green Crayon. I am 12.
Oh man.
Oh man. Great film.
I see Heather's comment too. What she does is just blasphemous. So but I will say
Heather,
this.
I gotta
say this
say,
real quick.
Okay.
I'll say this real quick. As far as Soto goes, I'm happy the Phillies didn't sign him for the money that he signed for, because apparently a part of his contract is, I think it's like after the 5th-year option or something like that, he jumps into sharing revenue or something like that, where it adds another $5 million to each year of his contract. This contract could wind up being over $800 million when it's all said and done. That's disgusting. And respect to the Mets for wanting to pay that. This is top 5 player in baseball right now. In his prime. The Mets are just starting to be competitive again. How do you not make that signing? How do you not? It's, as much as I hate seeing Soto come back to the NL East and how much damage he's going to do, I can't hate the Mets for doing it. but I'm sure as hell glad the Phillies didn't. Not for $765 over 15 years. Phillies can't afford another contract like that.
75 million signing bonus, 350 guaranteed, I think, or 303 guaranteed before he can opt out in 5 years. See, that's the thing is that these hedge fund guys are fucking shifty, right? Like Steve Cohen, right? Do you think Soto might not even be a Met for after 5 years? Wait, watch.
So okay. So I saw Benny's comment. He did correct that. I think this is a better opportunity for the Mets, not deferring their contract too. So it's all the money for 15 years. It's not like Bobby Bonilla where he retires in 1785 and they're paying him until 24. So, Bobby Bonilla days only got a few more years left. I think he's got 9 years left until Bobby Bonilla days are no longer a thing. But
John, thank you, brother. Appreciate that. Tie down them Christmas lights. Well, I don't have any on, so I don't have to worry about that. I don't know about you boys, but I do not.
We're in an apartment.
And that doesn't mean you can't put some over the railing.
I got no outlet outside.
Oh, well, I mean, some people...
That'll do it.
Hey, listen, some people do. But anyway. See, Heather saying, you guys gonna hate me, but Cowboys for football, which actually matches Pove. Braves for baseball, that I did not expect. But honestly, the only two sports I am truly passionate about are hockey and F1.
Nice. Formula One. Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great. That's it. I do some editing for a fantasy site that covers NASCAR and F1. Yeah. It's a very, very fantastic sport. But no, that's kind of how I am too. I'm so disenfranchised with football, right? That me, it's just baseball and hockey. Those are my two passions. I played baseball, and hockey's the greatest sport to watch on earth.
Yep.
And Benny's now following up with the "Oh God, Heather" comment there. Clearly not happy.
I fully admit I was dropped on my head several times as a kid. It's truth. It's true. Oh, it's damn true.
Yeah. She likes watching the guys make the left turns. Oh, another turn.
Okay, well, to be fair, I think F1 does have like tracks that are not just a complete left turn the entire time. I think that's the one where they actually have courses.
Oh, sorry, flight right, left turn.
Yeah,
flight right, left turn.
I think that's like the one thing that's different about. But anyway,
oh, it's fine.
Gran Turismo, fantastic movie.
Heather says, "Pove, you're my new bestie." Sorry, Brian.
Remember that.
Fame is fickle. But anyway.
Both have good taste. We have both good taste.
Yeah, and Heather,
I mean, I don't know. The Braves, nothing angers me more than the Atlanta Braves, though. So it's tough. It's tough. It's like we all share some common areas. It's like a battle royale. You know what I mean? Where we oppose each other in some areas. That's what makes A2D a fantastic family.
Right?
Because we don't hate on each other. And honestly, I used to loathe and despise Eagles and Phillies fans, but beyond belief, right? And my opinions of their fan base have gone completely 180 from working with you two gentlemen as well as everybody here at A2D, because you know what I mean? You get blinded by all the bad apples that you don't see the good diehards. The guys that are going to quickly put their team down when it calls for it because they need to get called out and give praise to an opponent who's playing well. And that's all you see here, so I'm off my high horse.
By the way, Heather's pissed at you, Bri, because she literally yells, "That's NASCAR, Brian!" in the comments.
It's all the same.
Road course.
Making a left turn. They're making another left turn.
By the way,
24 hours of Le Mans, baby.
By the way, Mike did send in a comment earlier. I started for an update for Lutsenko, Barkey, and Bunk. I did bring up their stats. So currently for Jet Lachenko, still playing with Gulf Storm as an A. He has played 16 games. He's got 7 goals and 13 assists for 20 points. 14 penalty minutes. He is a -2 on the ice. His projection was 57 games, 25 goals, 46 assists, 71 points, 50 penalty minutes, and they expected him to be a -7. So, if anything, he's actually an improvement on the plus-minus. Although, I think that says more about golf than it does him. Anyway, as for Denver Barkey, his current stats with the London Knights as captain. He has played 23 games. He has 5 goals, 26 assists for 31 points, 16 penalty minutes, plus 14 on the ice. His projection was 63 games, 14 goals, 71 assists, 85 total points, 44 penalty minutes, and 38 plus 38 on the plus-minus.
I'm a bum too, and I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
And
gotta react quack. Quack. Gotta react quick.
Gotta react quack. There you go. There's that
people are gonna
Ducks
be
fan
like-
coming out right there. There we go.
Somebody
say
crack?
Mr. Ducksworth.
Oh, quack. Oh.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan.
I got it, yeah.
Oh man, this is
All
why
right.
me and Pope got along so well. We get each other. We're old.
Yes. Yes.
So let's see here. And then we go to Oliver Bonk for the London Knights as well. He is the A on the team. So him and Barkey on the same team. 24 games played. He has 6 goals, 15 assists for 21 points. He has 12 penalty minutes and is a plus 13. His projection this year is 64 games played, 16 goals, 40 assists, 56 total points for 32 penalty minutes along with that and a plus 35. That is his projection for this year. So that is currently what's going on with Barkey, Bonk, and Luchenko.
Man, bums left and right for the Flyers.
And let's see here.
Bet y'all wish you still had Cutter.
Do we?
I don't know. It felt.
I don't know. Mitchie seems to be easing that pain pretty well.
I really don't know.
I thought I liked you.
It felt right, but now I see as it. I wanted to be like, nope.
Yeah, I was going to say, Mitchie almost had himself a nice little Hattie out there in Boston. So.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, eventually Sydney's going to go off and ride into the sunset, so you need that guy. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with, okay, so you got ties. You're torn. You're like that stepbrother. You know what I mean? It's getting like torn in both directions there. You know what I mean? Like, you have ties to Philly, but yet Anaheim's your team. So it's going to be interesting. It's a shame that they don't see each other more. You know what I mean?
No, it would be more fun. Absolutely.
Yeah.
1000%.
Meanwhile, John just declared war on Heather in the comments here, saying, Heather, your goalie husband heard Cowboys and Braves. He said he wants a divorce. Heather's response was, I will change his mind to stay, John. I can assure you of that.
Nicely done. Nicely done.
My.
Hey, listen, nothing like confidence. It goes a very long way in life.
Oh my.
All right, so let's see here. Hey, what's up, Ant? How you doing, brother?
Yeah, what's up, bro?
He's saying, hey, guys, I would say no to your poll question. In fact, I would say Danny B is under-managing. He needs to make a trade now for a center, but he won't do anything. Although, I have seen that Jonesy may have possibly said that they might be selling at the deadline. So, which, again, shouldn't really surprise anybody too much. But the question is, what's he selling? That's the real question.
Timeshare.
Maybe. Jonesy looks like a guy who would sell you a timeshare.
No, I thought that joke would have went over a little bit better.
Still, though,
Crack.
It's funny.
I love Jonesy, but doesn't Jonesy seem like the type of guy who would sell you a timeshare? I think he would.
Eat balls.
No.
No?
No. That would have
Okay.
been Carcillo. But anyway. Or Ronaldo. Actually, I'm thinking Ronaldo. He'd be the guy who sell you the 8 balls. Anyway,
Fair enough.
He'd be like what's her name? Cameron Diaz's boss in Sex Tape, where he has you over and gives you rails.
Yeah. Okay.
That would be Jonesy.
Oh man, I forgot about that.
Bravo, right? That was Bravo, right?
Benny's just saying. Benny's saying Jonesy looks like the one who would buy into one, actually. And by saying salon magic 8 balls.
Hey, listen, gotta do what you gotta do.
Right. So.
But I agree with Ant wholeheartedly. Time to make a move. Time to bring in another center.
Yeah.
So far, was there anything else major we want to talk about with the Flyers and Blue Jackets? I mean, obviously the big highlights were we got Konechny having 2 goals. Had a fight, Sealer getting into a fight with Olivier, and Olivier being the tough guy on the team, so that shouldn't surprise anybody.
No, that was after the hit on Andre, which I think was warranted. I also was pretty okay with the hit. Like it was a hard hit. I didn't really see anything that justified a major, so I'm kind of glad that they just made it a 2-minute. He was fine. He was probably a little shooken up, but I had no issues with the hit on Emile Andre.
Absolutely. And Michkov also adds on 2 more points. And before we sail off into the sunset, just for the shits and giggles of it, let me pull up those stats. Let's just see where the kid's at right now. See, 27 games. He has 11 goals, 16 assists. He's a +5 on the ice. 27 total points. My God, that is a gorgeous thing right there. 27 points, 27 games played.
What a defensive liability. +5.
Oh, man. I will tell you right now, folks, it feels so good to look up a rookie stats and to see that he has a point per game pace. That is a gorgeous fucking thing to see right there.
Yeah, it is.
All right.
Gross.
I don't know. I mean, I liked how Sealer stepped up to fight him, though, because he did shove the elbow there. I don't think it warranted. I still think it was a dirty hit, but I don't think it warranted the 5 minutes. So I think it was appropriately bumped down. But he really jammed his elbow in there. One thing I lost track of because I couldn't listen to it with sound. The last I read was that it doesn't look like he's laboring. Emile did come back into the game later on. Like I didn't see whether he did or not.
Yeah, I don't think he even missed a shift. Yeah,
okay.
I think he was right back out there.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I don't know. I thought the elbow caught him. I don't know.
Well, Bush
was saying
that
it was a clean hit.
Yeah, so Bush said it was a lot of his elbow did come in the follow through. So, or no, it was Hartnell. It was Hartnell who said that. So maybe a charge. I still don't know if I would call it elbowing. Yeah. But I mean, regardless, I'm fine with the hit. Like, it wasn't anything egregious. It was just a hard hit.
I don't know. Charge is a little harsh. Like, a charge has to be with intent. You know, like, to me, I feel like if you're going to call a charge, that player has to absolutely have the intent that he wants to take that player out. That's like the serious penalty to throw out there. You know? I don't feel it was that. I just think it was a rough hit, which they happen, unfortunately, in hockey. So Joe's also saying, is it just me or does JJ not seem to be enjoying his time with Bush in the booth?
I think it's just you. I think they're having a blast.
I think they're fine. I think Bush is. I think what it is I think there's a little bit more laid backness in there. I mean, because I feel like there's not as much. What's a good word? There's a little bit more filibustering. I feel like that's going on when the play is kind of down. Whereas with Bill Clement, it kind of seemed like things were a little bit more tight and on the play. And maybe that's because Bill Clement had a different style. And Bill had a lot of experience. You know, he had been commentating before JJ was in the Flyers booth, and he was doing ESPN at the same time with Gary Thorne. So, he was doing a lot.
Well, I think the problem is that they're too straight, man. It's like having two Abbotts with no Costello. You know what I mean? They need a third. They need they need Coatsy back on the ice. That's what you need. Bring back Coatsy.
Boucher's got a very dry sense of humor.
Unfreeze him and get him out there.
Yeah. Boucher's got a very dry sense of humor, but I think they enjoy each other. But I agree with Benny. I thought the play off of I think the play off of JJ and Jonesy was a little bit better, but I think they have a good time together. I think they enjoy what they do, which they're better. They got one of the best jobs in the world.
So let's see here. One last thing before we close this one out. John wanted to throw out: Does Michkov break the Flyers rookie record of 83 points, which is currently held by Eric Lindros? Right now, as it stands, if he keeps up a point per game pace, he could.
You could.
It is a very big possibility he could hit 84 up.
You think our projection for games played, like, you think he's going to play more games than that? Because I think at some point you got to rest him, no?
You would think. He's already not playing he's not going to be playing the full stretch because he's already been benched at least for, what was it, 1 or 2 games he got benched?
2 games. Yep.
2 games, yeah. So he's not going to play the full 82. And when Lindros came in, it was 84 games instead of 82 games. So there's a couple of little differences here and there.
Lindros he only played 61 games in his rookie year.
True, because I do think he got hurt, actually.
Well, he was a 19-year-old, so they don't play as many games like as you're coming from the younger ranks. So it's like you kind of almost think of it like a pitcher needing to build up his innings, right?
Yeah.
Do you see Michkov fading? I don't. What I'm saying is I could be wrong. He could play maybe 80 or like 75 games now, right?
Maybe.
And that'd be it. And if he does, then he shatters Lindros's points.
Yeah.
Shatters it.
It's possible.
Benny's also saying he'll have a little break with the Four Nations, and he will because Russia's not going to be in it for obvious reasons. Right. So, he will have a little bit of a break, although that can be a little bit of a negative, but I think it would be more of a positive for him.
Nailed it! 61 games played on his rookie year. Nice.
See?
As a 19-year-old, yeah.
Why we keep you around?
See, that's the advantage of, having been able to watch Lindros's rookie season. I was not able to. So.
True. What do you mean you didn't? What's the matter with you? You didn't have TV in there?
What? He was... What was it?
92.
92. I wasn't even born yet. So...
Maddie, feel free to fuck right on off.
Oh, what are you complaining about? Teemu Selanne had the best rookie year ever that year. Stop complaining.
Meanwhile, Maddie was that 80-year-old up in Section 210 that was going, "Come on, Lindros, we need a cup."
Yeah, he was.
You weren't worth Mike Ricci.
Yeah, but Maddie, you actually he did it with Anaheim. He did it with Winnipeg. So
Winnipeg. Yeah, I know.
It doesn't matter.
Still, anyway.
All right,
with that,
wrap it up. You already know. He's already going to. Whoops.
Listen, what, Heather? What? I can't go back in time and tell my mom and my dad to have me sooner. Listen, I'm not happy that I missed most of the 90s either. There was some great music that came out during that time period. Would have loved to have listened to it when it was new. But oh well. Anyway.
Tapes and CDs and...
That's true, I do. I have a whole shelf of them that's off camera. But anyway, so... All right, guys. We will see you next week right here on A2DRadio.com. And let me just take a quick look at the handy-dandy calendar here. What do we got? No game. No game next week for the Flyers. They'll be playing Monday, it looks like. Or no, they're not playing Monday. They're not playing until Wednesday that week. Oh, okay. They play Detroit. In Detroit. Oh, interesting. So that will be next week. Until then, though, guys.
Done.
Yeah.
Where you at?
It'll be here.
We will see you guys next week right here on a2dradio.com. The season still treks on. The Flyers are 4th in the Metro, as I believe Mike said. And it's got to feel pretty good. Even though the Flyers did have a 3-game skid, they got a big win tonight. Hopefully they're back on the right track as they move forward in the regular season. And remember, Mitchkov, 27 games played, 27 points. Let that comfort you as you go to bed tonight. All right, guys. Stay safe. Stay healthy out there. Specialized Physical Therapy sponsored us. For all your aches and pains, go to them. Peace and love, everyone.
I got Shane Pinto on my wish list.